Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to We Love Metal. We are on the line with John Moyer of Disturbed. How you doing today, John?
Doing very well, Bill. How are you today?
Good, thank you so much. I just want to start out by congratulating you for obviously the continued success with all the recent touring and the sales of Asylum, which were definitely solid. How have the fans been reacting to the new music?
You know, we've like you said, we've been fortunate enough to have a pretty good career, and we've got a lot of albums worth of material that we have to play in the set. Having said that, though, as a band, you know, it's always fun for us to go out there and play the new songs. But, you know, we don't want to be like one of those bands where you go and you see them and then they're going to play just all new material. But I'll tell you this much. A lot of the new material is really getting a great response from the crowd. Another Way to Die, the first single off the record, it seems like the crowd knows it just as well as they know, you know, songs like Stricken or you know, Indestructible even. And so I guess, you know, the new record has been, as far as I can tell, has been successful with our connection to our fans. So we play Another Way to Die in the set. Asylum, the title track off the record's also in the set. Our new single, The Warrior, just came out, and we're having to incorporate that into the set as well. And then The Animal, which was a previous single, which has also done really well, is in the set also. So, you know, we feel real fortunate to be able to go out on a new record, still play 4 songs that, you know, the audience is going to know.
Well, I'll tell you, we ran a viewer poll for 2011 Best Of, or 2010, sorry, Best Of, and Asylum was voted the Record of the Year on our poll, so.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, it was excellent.
That's amazing. Thank you so much to your readership and the people who voted for that, and, you know, I don't know what to say about that. You know, there's a lot of good records that come out all the time by tons of artists out there, and, you know, being able to support them, go out and see shows, download the record, listen to music, whatever, that's what keeps metal alive and keeps it going. And that couldn't be any better testament to the fan base that voting us like that. That's really cool.
And the main reason we're talking, John, is April 5th, the Music as a Weapon 5 years now, will be coming to Halifax, Nova Scotia. And Seven Dust, Stillwell, Korn. What can people expect to see you here in Eastern Canada?
Unfortunately, I don't think Seven Dust is going to be on that run.
Oh, I do apologize for that.
Oh, it's okay. It is going to be Korn, Stillwell, and us. And, you know, what you're going to see is I mean, Korn, obviously, metal giants. They've been around forever. They're still making great music. They're better on stage now than they've ever been. It's just a pleasure for us to be doing a co-headline run like this with them. You know, what the fans are going to see is they're going to see basically headline shows. Because, you know, you're gonna get Korn as a headlining act, and always has been, you know, for many years, and for us, you know, we flip-flop on this tour, so depending on the night, it's depending on who closes, so it truly is a co-headlining show. But whether it's going to be us closing out the Halifax show or Korn, it doesn't matter, because either way, you're going to see the same show that we're giving to all the fans, and that's basically as if, you know, it's a headlining act closing it all out. You get 2 headlining acts on this tour.
Well, I'll tell you, John, 2 years ago when we started We Love Metal, what put us on the map was we actually had an interview with Dan in Halifax, a sit-down interview, and he was so gracious and wonderful to us, and one of the things we talked about was actually your influence on nu metal and what Disturbed meant to that genre, and he came right out and said that Korn is the other giant in nu metal, and now to have you both on the same tour must be, the fan reaction must be crazy.
Yeah, you know, I think that we have a lot of fans in common, but I also think we've got a lot of fans that, you know, it's also diversity too, so I think we're playing to a lot of their fans and winning them over, and vice versa. And you know what, I mean, honestly, the way the economy is right now, you know, people not necessarily can afford to go to every show that comes through town, so to us, it was really important on this record cycle that Music as a Weapon was as strong as it could be. It made sense for fans to want to spend the money to go see it. And when Korn agreed to do this with us, it was just a no-brainer. It just felt like, wow, now we really feel like, you know, the fans are going to get a great ticket, you know, both bands touring together. And I think it's been great. Numbers-wise, we've had great shows, plenty of sold-out shows, as well as, you know, filling the rooms every night, and I think everyone's having a good time.
Excellent. Now, I want to go back into your past a little bit, John. Just you recently came up in an interview we did with a friend of yours, Patrick Tennyson from Heaven Below, and you guys were in Union Underground together, correct?
Yes.
I asked him the same question. Did you guys realize the talent that you had in that band when you were together?
Well, we felt Josh, the drummer, was a great drummer as well, and Brian, the singer, also played guitar, wrote songs, did all that stuff, and was a producer. So, as far as I was concerned, I was the least talented member of that band. I knew that I was the powerhouse of the band. I always felt that we had the goods to at least, make a name for ourselves at some level.
Now, did you go into Disturbed right after Union Underground?
It was about 4 or 5 months after that.
Did you find that difficult? A, you're replacing somebody that he was there for a couple albums, and B, they were well on their road to success when you came in. Was that a hard transition for you?
It took some time. I was 6 months between bands when Union Underground broke up, and the Disturbed gig had been sitting on, it's been unoccupied for a while. That bass player position, even for 6 months, they didn't have anybody. And they were auditioning people, and when I finally got my chance to audition in front of them, and I got the gig, we didn't tour. We did like a short run, like during the summer, but most of the time we spent writing 10,000 bits. And that was just a chance for me to get along with them on a creative level. And, the transition wasn't so bad, we did go, when I finished Union Underground, we were playing good-sized rooms, but of course then when I started playing shows with Disturbed, they were even bigger and better. So yeah, this band definitely had a level of success with me coming in. I tried to play the bass lines on the previous material to a T. I thought he wrote great stuff. I didn't see any reason for me to try to reinvent the wheel on what they'd done. In fact, I learned from his playing and applied that with, what I already do to what Disturbed does. And hopefully I've maintained what the band had before and then been able, and since then have been able to, help progress it and put my own stamp on it in the process.
Well, my personal opinion, John, is on Asylum, the new one, with it being a little darker, I think bringing the bass out more like they did, I think it shows your skill more than anything in your career, to be honest with you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I can't say enough about, how fortunate it is just to be able to do what you love. And playing music is something I love to do. And I would do it and record even if it wasn't in a successful situation. But fortunately, I get to do it, at this level, and there's nothing more I could ask for.
Is you guys always creating new things, or when you're on the road, or do you just focus on your set list? Like, is the songwriting continuous?
The riff writing is continuous. That never stops, because you never know when inspiration is going to hit and you might want to write a riff. But as far as songwriting is concerned, we usually don't craft the songs together until the end of an album cycle, when we kind of, figure things out as far as, what we're going to do moving forward and creatively, like where everybody's headspace is at. So usually when we're on the road, we're just in road mode, and then when we're in the studio, we're in studio mode. And that kind of, when we're in studio mode, we won't do shows. We're just in that mode. So that's kind of, we stay very focused on whatever aspect we're doing. But we are creating always. Like, we're always thinking of stuff, and, David, I'm sure, writes lyrics all the time, and Dan is always recording guitar riffs. So that never stops. But like I said, we don't actually sit down and start putting the songs together until we, the end of an album cycle. Then we start on it in earnest.
Definitely. Now, something I've noticed, this will be my third Disturbed show, which to some Disturbed fans is not much, but the stage show every time I've seen you has gotten more elaborate. Is that the case with the new set as well?
Yes. When was the last time you saw us?
It would have been on the last tour when you were with All That Remains. Dave came out in the straitjacket. Okay,
yeah. You know what? Every album cycle, we try to not just change what we've done, because we want our fan base to come and see the show and have something different to see every time. But not only do we change it, we try to up it. And I swear we've gone 2 and 3 steps ahead with this new production that we're bringing live. I don't want to give too much away, but there's a whole video wall and screen and interaction that's happening now that we've never done before. Our production, it's almost like a U2 show, but in the world of metal.
Yeah, with a metal influence, thank goodness.
Right, right. With the metal influence, but it's that when you go see U2, they got a lot of times a lot of great video production that goes along with the songs. And that's the new thing that we've incorporated into this tour. So even if you got seats and you're in the back of the arena, the show is still going to be phenomenal.
Definitely. Is there any non-metal influences that you rely on, John, when you're playing?
That's a good question. I get influenced by everything creatively, but as far as like application to my playing non-metal, probably mostly classical. Wagner, Beethoven, some of that stuff. There's some great bass playing and bass lines underneath that stuff that I can apply to some of what we do. Really, I'm still influenced by the traditional Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, Faith No More, Metallica. These are the bands I grew up on, and I still can listen to them today and be inspired and learn things from their playing.
Wonderful. To wrap up, John, I'm going to ask you a question that we've asked everybody we've interviewed since we interviewed Dan, and that's living or dead, past or present, anyone that you could share the stage with, who would it be? And I realize that's difficult because you guys have shared the stage with most legends, but can you think of one that you'd absolutely love to have on stage with you?
The one guy who I would just love to share the stage with again would be Dimebag Darrell. That would be fantastic.
It's a very popular answer, unfortunately.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, he was a bad motherfucker, and there's no two ways about it.
That's
was an amazing player and an amazing person, and the other one would be, honestly, I don't know, if you ever chance to meet him, but Dave Williams, the old singer for Drowning Pool, the original singer for Drowning Pool, you want to talk about a wonderful person too, and him and Dime were friends for reasons, because they were kindred spirits and souls, and both those guys, I'd love to have back to get on stage with them and jam, for sure.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank John Moyer of Disturbed for doing this, and encourage everyone, April 5th, Halifax Metro Center, to make sure they come out and check out Music as a Weapon, co-headlining with Korn, and thanks, John. We certainly appreciate this.
Rocket, Bill. Thank you very much, buddy.